is, and it's basically the same thing, just a shabbier version of it. And I thought it was the most weird thing in the world. Of course, I thought it was something that only our Caucasian brothers were doing. I didn't know a lot of black guys did that, or any of them did that back then. When you're talking about going back to the 80s and 90s, I never knew one way or another. I thought if you was a brother, your hairline was just looking kind of funny, you just dealt with it. So of course, around 88, 89, Mr. Michael Jordan started to shave his head bald, and that made it okay because he was the hottest thing out at that time frame. So of course he shaved his head bald, and every brother that did or could, they did, and some people had funny shaped heads, and they learned to deal with having some hair on their head. So and that's another thing. Like had I had a funny shaped head, I would be probably sick right now. I'll probably literally be looking into that. Hey, yo, let me get me a hairpiece because I got all these, over the river and through the woods lumps in my head, and I want to get something to cover that up, give me some waves or something. But no, I'm good. So, but I do wonder about the double standard. So before we went to break, T-Rex was like, definitely there's a double standard. I agree. I just don't know why it has to be. I want to know why is it so much a thing that whatever, not just this, it's kind of like a microcosm of a lot of different things between men and women. We can do battle of the sexes when it comes to so many different subjects, but mainly because there's always some rule that a woman can go by that men don't, and I don't, there's nothing that, okay, well, I want to do just like you. No, we know that we operate differently, but I guess it's with the roles changing and blending more, especially as far as the women. The women have been able to come into their own, become captains of the industry, be able to do all these wonderful things. And so, of course, they're kind of flexing their mental, physical, social, financial, business muscle, and they being able to compete more with men, and show them that I am your equal, if not better. A lot of times they veer off into our lane when it doesn't even have to do with any of those things. It's just more so like, well, I'm more man than you. And it's like, well, no, I'm still the man, but it's good to see me neck and neck when it comes to a lot of stuff. But then when it boils down to the division, it's like, okay, you can still at any given moment step off to the side and say, okay, this is solely some woman stuff and you can't do this. If any good old boy club told women that they couldn't do X, Y, Z, we'd get every feminist group, every girl power group, all of Beyonce's little minions and anybody else.
Spice Girls.
Yeah, the new age Spice Girls would come in to combat every good old boy club that had something, chauvinistic to say. So, I mean, rightfully so, I guess. But I guess what I wonder about is whether or not is it necessary to have that double standard. Why can't a brother, if he wants to, get him a little hairpiece and get him some waves with a fresh hairline to make him feel better about himself? Now, I'm asking this, because I've come across it recently and saw the funniest clip. I saw, what was my man, what's the guy, man, that does the Chris Rock impersonations? The light-skinned dude. Affion Crockett. Okay. Affion Crockett is doing a split screen reaction video on Instagram. If you follow him on Instagram, if you don't follow him on Instagram. And he's just laughing at the fact that they're putting the toupee together, or the piece, or I heard it, the unit, that's what they call it, the unit. They're putting together the unit for this guy's head. So of course, Affion is just clowning this guy, clowning the process and everything else. Because for some people, it's just like a skull cap with something adhered to it. But in this particular situation, the guy's bald, much like myself, all the way up top, but then has hair on the side. They blend the hair on the side, and then they put like some kind of glue on it, and then they put some wavy hair that resembles some ramen noodles fresh out the pack before you slam them on the ground and break them for all my jailhouse partners. Because for whatever reason, you got to slam them on the ground to make them taste better. If you and they start just layering these wavy lines onto the person's head, put the hot rag on it, lay it down, put a skull cap on it, pop it off, hit it with the clippers, and then start lining stuff up. And of course, with You got Beijing, and then you got the other things that the barbers use is the fibers where they spray on like almost airbrushing the details onto somebody's hairline or beard or whatever. So they got to doing that on this man's stuff, and I swear you would have never have known that this dude was bald. You would have never have known if you looked at it. He looked like anybody else out here fresh out of the barber. And the ladies are mad that they finding out that ain't real. And I guess can it be this? Answer me this on this one, T-Rex. Now, when we as men look at women, we look at a lot of different factors that let us know whether or not we want to, mingle with the women.
Right. Interact.
Right. But I know that with women, they have a, this is not all, but I've been in circles of women and had them, I've heard them discuss so many different things. And of course, they look at how straight a guy's teeth is, how good his skin is, you know what I'm saying? How good his hair is.
How he takes care of his nails.
Exactly. All this stuff. But a lot of the stuff, they're looking at the genetic comparison, the genetic markers that say whether or not this dude will present me a beautiful child or not. Like, so is that the thing? Like, okay, are you like mad because this dude is making you think that he got a full head of hair at 35 or whatever it is? And you find out that he bald and he been bald since 22, and you thinking that, okay, oh Lord, my baby gonna be bald if I have a kid with this guy.
It is impossible to realize or try to figure out exactly what a woman has going on in her mind when it comes to the direction she chooses to pick for. I mean, initially everybody's gonna go off initial attraction based off looks, and that's just gonna happen. So if they're tricked like we are tricked, hey, welcome to the club. This is what happened to us when we get in there and y'all got them push-up bras on, y'all get naked and they fall. Yeah. You got them hike your ass up panties on, they get naked and they fall. You got ass shots, you at what, 26, and then 46, you looking like Pillsbury Dough Girl around the ass like you got on fucking Pamper forever. And your thighs don't match, and then the rest of your body started to catch up, and either it overinflates more than where you were and goes past what you overshot, or then back down because you couldn't be patient or happy with what God gave you. Regardless of that, welcome to the club. We've been getting tricked for years. Ha back to you. That's all I got to say. I'm done with you.
Right. So again, what T-Rex is saying, that he doesn't care that y'all, man, about the whole toupee or like he said, the new fad of the beard chin strap that the guys is getting. I guess for the ones that can't even grow hair, they still dealing with the baby face. And my thing is that if you can't grow hair, brother, appreciate that fact. That allows you to look younger for a lot longer. That allows you to do that. Like what I noticed in my father's generation is that if I showed you a picture of my father and all his brothers, every last one of them has a clean face because they all end up developing some kind of little complex about, now that my hair is turning gray, I look old. Like if you show all of them clean shaven, they all look 15 years younger than what their actual ages would say. So for them, as soon as they actually saw that, okay, the grays are coming in, poof, they went to shaving up. They used to have stuff lined up, but now once they saw the grays coming in, they bare face. You never know. Of course, if you like, let's say for me right now, if I was to line this thing up much smaller, I would look, I could knock off about 8 years. But no, I grow the beard out. You see the gray hairs in the beard. I've earned these guys. I was proud of them, dude. Like I told you, like when I first got my first gray hair, I named that guy. Like I was hype. I was hype because at that time frame, I still didn't feel old at all. I still don't now, but I mean, really then, that was my first gray hair came at 31 or something like that. Like I'm like, man, this is dope. Yeah. I'm like, man, And me being a late bloomer when it came to a lot of different stuff. Like I didn't get, like I can grow a full beard now, but I couldn't even grow sideburns until my late 20s. So I went from, okay, now I got sideburns to I got my first gray hair, bro. I thought I was going through puberty all over again. I was hyped. I was stoked. You couldn't tell me nothing. Like, bro, like I can take over the world now, bro. So teach me, look, get that gray hair over here talking about, teach me about 401k and cutting my grass. I need to learn how to manicure my lawn.
So like you say this Bermuda.
Exactly, Bermuda.
So Bermuda?
Fescue? What is fescue?
What is it? Teach me.
I need to know about this type of stuff. So yeah, definitely. So I don't know. So it started off as that. It was just a light conversation that was like, man, you know what? Because I saw that video earlier today and I laughed so hard at it because he was going on and like Afion was giving brother business. But I've also seen it in other situations, and I've seen the females get so mad about this, and literally just like T-Rex said, I mean, we've been getting that trickery for the longest, you know. It's like it's you know, we're not talking about, okay, you throwing a little eyeshadow, boom, okay, I have a little lip gloss or something, boom, or lipstick or whatever. But
or lips for that matter.
But yeah, they get a little
collagen.
Yeah.
Y'all got everything.
Yeah.
I'm cool with it. Because y'all need to feel the way y'all need to feel.
I mean, but it gets to the point where now, like, no, again. So background for us to have worked in the strip club industry for as long as we have, for me to manage strip clubs for as long as I did, to go and just look at my list and see, oh well, I had this rush at 2 o'clock and I had about 15, 16 ladies come in at 2 o'clock. Oh, sorry. I had that many girls come in at 2 o'clock. Wait about an hour and I look at my floor. I go out and take a stroll from my office to the DJ booth and see that I only got 3 girls on the floor. Go back in the dressing room and they still back there getting ready. All right. I don't blow my top yet. Just, go do my thing. Go work on some paperwork, talk to some vendors, take an inventory, go behind the bar, glad hand some of my guests, talk a little trash, go check outside, look at what my parking lot looking like, talk to my security guard out in the parking lot, come back inside. Now it's been a total of almost an hour and 45 minutes, and now I got 6 girls on the floor. Now, mind you, that 16 that came in at 2 o'clock were not the only ones that were in the building. I already had about 10 or 15 in the building already. So when I go back there to the back and I see basically like we having a kumbaya session and everybody's in there trying to do one thing or another, get themselves ready, of course I go into my Mr. Diabolical, I'm the mean manager spiel. So now I'm just letting them know, like, ladies, if you have to spend 4 hours in order to get ready just to present yourself to the crowd when you work an 8-hour shift, basically, this is not the business you need to be in, because thusly the initial start value, as they say in gymnastics and swimming, the start value that you have as far as beauty is concerned is not up to par with this business. And if you got to work on, like, literally it takes 4 hours. Like what they did for, if y'all watch Black Panther and they had Michael B. Jordan with all them dots on his body, it took about 4 hours to do that. So if it takes you that long just to put on some makeup, some foundation, to contour that thing a little bit, the eyeliner, lipstick, and if it takes you that long, you're basically trying to turn yourself into a whole new creature. It's just like putting on that Predator mask. It took 5-6 hours to put that on, and you only beat that by an hour or 2. So if it's taking you that long to get on the floor, you probably don't need to work in this business. You got to have a start value of being beautiful off the rip and know that you are, and then know how to accentuate what you got to the point where you can get in there, get freshened up, switch into your outfit, throw on your doggone, all of your accessories and stuff, and go out there ready to kill them. But again, for most places, the requirement was that you have to work at least 8 hours. And you done spent 4 of them in the dressing room.
Trying to transform.
Trying to literally transform into something else. You come in there looking like I don't know what, Little Bill, and come out looking like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or what. I don't know how to explain it, but it's something odd, weird.
Come in looking like Pikachu, come out looking like Trump.
Right. He's turning it. Pikachu come out looking like Big Bird. He's like, so totally, man, I don't know. So for me, if the focus is that, you don't think that we feel cheated, fooled, lied to, betrayed, bamboozled, hoodwinked, that whole run amok, when you finally come out of all that stuff. Because again, my partner used to tell him, like, look, bro, I'm getting them in the pool, I'm getting them in the shower. I was like, what? I had to understand this logic. She's like, look, man, I in order for me to see the real her, man, I got to get her in the shower. We got to wash all of that stuff off. You say, so if I can't get her, if the nature of how the relationship is going is not to the point where I can get her in the bed or get her in the shower to the point where I ain't got to the point where we're, hitting each other like that yet, I get her in the pool. I invited her somewhere where I know we finna have a pool party, and I get one of my savage homeboys to toss in the pool so I can see what that hair look like when it's wet, what the real hair look like. Put her in a position where she got to take that wig off. We'll see what that face look like with all that makeup on. Like, it's just a whole bunch of stuff. So he broke. I mean, I ain't gonna even tell y'all who this guy is, but he diabolical, ladies. You gotta stay away from him. He is a mastermind at picking through all of your little ways of distracting us. So he's good at what he does. So, but yeah. So his thing was that I need to see you at your natural, not at your worst. Your worst is when you're sick, when you done drunk too much and you're throwing up, you need somebody to hold your hair or something like that. We ain't talking about that. We just talking about, okay, wake up in the morning, take a shower, get out the shower, what you look like. And that's the whole thing. Because all of the trappings and the bait that y'all are using, y'all can take that off. The eyelashes. Of course, the makeup, the lipstick, the eyeliner, all that stuff. The eyebrows. Take the eyebrows off. He just told y'all about the lead press on eyebrows. So yeah. So the eyebrows. Take those off. Then of course the brow stuff. And the way Fashion Nova was set up when it first came out. They catered to just the curvy woman and they wanted to accentuate your curves even more and blah blah blah. You know, now a lot of businesses are found out that okay, Fashion Nova was on to something. You know, like yo, they know what they're doing. You're not just gonna try to get a size 16 to squish itself into a size 8. No, we're literally gonna make something for the 16 and make them look like an 8. That's a smart business plan. So, but it's just as far as double standards go. Why is it such a problem? Now, what I had said to T-Rex earlier was that I was wondering why anything that a female does is considered negative once a man does it. Now, I've already heard the saying plenty of times that there's, equal ain't fair or something like that. I think that's how it goes. Correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, but yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be tit for tat when it comes to that. But why is it that women defend their ground when it comes to that so much? Why is it so important for them to solely be able to do one thing or another? Like I gave him an example about being petty. Because you're human, you got a heartbeat, you have a mind, you got a spirit and a soul or whatever. You all have the propensity to do good and bad and to also be in your feelings. I think the harder part is the walk of life that men go through. Most are logical thinkers. And on the opposite side, for females, most are emotional thinkers first. Meaning that it's not as though they're not illogical, they're not logical at all. They just, the emotions kick in first. So sometimes, you know, when I had to learn at a young age that even though I think something and it may be completely true, I don't necessarily have to say it. I don't necessarily have to act on it immediately. So I would get popped in the mouth by my mama because I would see somebody, you know, like this again, this is a little knucklehead kid looking at this 700-pound man with 7 wobbles sitting on his table, and my little, you know-it-all self was like, I don't think he need to eat all them burgers, mama. And whop, right in the mouth. Bop, okay, all right, bet I ain't supposed to say
Things
that.
do not say.
Right. True enough, I was right. Yes, I was right. But just because, you know, I had to learn tact. There was a tactful way to say something about that to my mom. Not necessarily to the guy. There's probably no way to approach that. That's none of my business since I don't know the guy. But that's probably a tactful way to bring that up. And just like that, when it comes to females, like if they could use tact, if there was some kind of governor that would actually filter down all that emotion so they can actually see what they knew. Because like it's not as though they don't have a logical mind processing things. There's just another, what do you want to call it? Another, a whole entire other brain that works solely on emotions.
There's a right way to do things.
Right. So sometimes, you know, that brain takes over and just says whatever and goes off. And then of course that's why you get some of these weirdest awkward moments, because women don't like to apologize a lot of times. So it's like it's a matter of, okay, you went completely crazy over something that was, you know, had you just paid attention and just listened to the logic, no clue. All right, and we're back. So What was that? Phone was too close. But so it's just like being petty, right? So you get all those little petty situations that you might have with, you know, whatever. So if guys, you can probably attest to this, maybe not, because again, not everybody is like that. I always have conversations with people, men and women, and we discuss, you know, what the majority of people do, and it's like, okay, that's the rule. So you personally may not do that. You may be the exception to the rule, and that's great, but you know that the rule still stands. So when you say, well, female, they might be like, well, you know, guys is like this, this, and this, and she may very well be right about the majority of guys, but, you know, of course, not all men are like that, you know. So same thing under these circumstances. But I find that when you can have a conscious, educated conversation with a female about something like that, and you start talking to her about that particular subject, they get defensive, and, you know, they don't want you to be able to be petty with them on their same level. So if you do something, I mean, meaning like if she is petty with you and you return fire with pettiness, you become every low-level, bottom feeder, raggedy, Rudy poop booty ass motherfucker known to man, and it's like, how does that even work?
Dish it out, but you can't take it.
Right, and that's my thing. And
even dish it out incorrectly and still can't take it.
For me, I'm like, you're not gonna get this on a regular basis. For one, most dudes, they just don't operate like that. And then for the ones that's finally saying, because I know for me, I've been in a situation where it's like, it's only so much I can take. So it's like, I gave you a pass. I checked you on it. Say, yo, you got to calm the hell down with XYZ or whatever. Sat down and had a discussion about it. Like, these are all different instances. So by the time I fire back with something petty, I'm doing it just to show you how I feel. Like, okay, I'm finna do the exact same thing you do. That you do on a regular basis. And
why you do that, Jimmy?
Exactly. The first time
you didn't have to do that.
Well, you know, so of course it's like, all right. Now, can we get back to our regularly scheduled program of us both being neutral people, and I'm not curving over into your lane, you're not doing, you know, swerving over my lane. We okay. Like, we can work hand in hand, we can be cool. And this is co-worker, this is girlfriend, this is your sister, this is whoever. You see what I'm saying?
I ain't never liked your mom.
But it's just what I'm saying, like, any female that you deal with, like, it's always a way that y'all can operate and be in each other's space and there not be any issues. But then it's like when petty is a tool that's used, it's in the female toolbox. A man got to go out and find that tool. You know what I'm saying? He got to go out and fabricate that tool, you know, in order to do that. Petty is already there in their toolbox. I mean, you born, you got Barbie dolls and what they say, sugar and spice, everything nice and petty. You know, that's what they got to add to that with a side of petty. You know, and that's the funny thing about it. It's like, okay, fine. So when I come back with something petty, why am I the worst thing on earth when I just did exactly what you just did? It's okay for you to do it, but it's not okay for me to do it. But that all reads into the double standard that I'm talking about. It's okay for you to do all this other stuff. It's okay for you to spend thousands of dollars every month on beauty. And if I do it, I must be gay. You feel me? It's like if I do it, it's like, okay, God, if I put all this time into trying to make sure I look a certain way, or even if my version of it is that I go to the gym all the time and I'm always looking in the mirror trying to check the six pack and trying to see what the arms looking like and everything else, then it's like, okay, you worry more about your body than you do, you know, or whatever, you know, you so vain, or who you trying to get pretty for. That's when all those questions come from. It's like, okay, when you see, ladies, I want you to identify with the fact that whatever the feeling that you get from seeing me do or hearing me do the exact same thing that you do on a regular basis, I need you to stop, pause right there. Pause the tape deck right there, and then realize that, okay, this is what he gets on a regular basis from me. It should either make you ramp it up and do it even more, or it should make you stop. I realize that, okay, something ain't quite right. Like, you know, again, like they say, fair ain't equal. I don't expect for you to do the exact same thing that I do, but I still expect it to be fair. Like it shouldn't be overpoweringly, you know, leaning towards your side every single time where you get to, you know, kind of run rapid through the relationship and act a certain way, make demands a certain way, and have standards set a certain way, but not expect standards to be put on you as well. You want me to do all these things that indicate being a man, right? Then I expect you to do that thing too. But again, I hate when people do that because a lot of folks' standards are set off certain time frames in time. So, I recently had conversations with a female and she was like, okay, well, my dad, he used to take out the trash and he used to, mow the lawn and he used to walk my mama to the car every day and he used to, there's a lot of different things. It's like, okay, cool. He went out there and worked his butt off and he came back home. And it's like, and the first time I heard somebody say that and they went into great detail about all that stuff, it was like, and at one point did you say what your mama was doing in that exact same time frame? You telling me exactly the blueprint of what the man did. Okay, so what did the mama do? Was she his helpmate?
To my life, right?
Did she have the food on the table waiting for him when he got home from work after busting his butt? Did she give him a massage because she knew he was sitting around? He worked a hard job and he literally busted his butt. Like he coming home aching every single day. Did she have a hot bath running for that man when he got to the crib? A meal waiting for him, a massage and peace, meaning that not a bunch of nagging. Baby, tell me about your day and why he's talking to you. You massaging his temple. None of that stuff. It was just a whole bunch of what daddy did or what the man did or what the man's supposed to do. It's like you got to realize that, especially when we trying to go back and talking about all of the, real world man stuff that men have done over time frame. Like I don't denounce any of that. Like no, that's what we're built to do, and based on what we've seen our fathers and grandfathers do, that's what we're normally going to be set to do. I can't speak for everybody's upbringing. I know I watch my dad go to work every single Saturday every day. So, it is what it is. Like he had to forcibly be retired because, he just was going to work until he wasn't going to work no more. He made good money too. But you got to understand that there's a standard for both sides. But you got to realize that over time, because the old school, and I don't want to call it Neanderthal, it's just that what was thought of as traditional family values back in the day are not what's thought of as traditional values now. They've changed up the rules. So for now, or better yet for then, the father worked. The mother did not. The mother took care of the kids. And that was their deal. So of course she took care of all the stuff that was at the house. She did the cleaning. She did, especially the stuff inside of the house. But that also, she did all the decorating too. This house was going to look like she wanted it to look. Men didn't have man caves back then. You know what I'm saying? If it was an extra room in the house, she was going to decorate that mug too. It's going to look like she wanted it to look. So it wasn't all of that. So a lot of things changed up over the years. That woman was going to...
Man cave was the garage.
Yeah.
You had one. It was the outhouse or the shed.
Right. Using the backyard with your partners. Yeah, you ain't had no man cave.
Yeah, if it was land is your land.
Right.
Actually, sometimes if you didn't have no shed or no garage, the yard was the front porch was as best as you could get that first step.
Right.
And everything dealing in the yard where you could pick up a pine cone. That was your land. That's all you had.
That's your pine cone, sir. Decorated well. So that was the thing. So for things to change up, now we can attribute it to a lot of different stuff, but we know, for people in the know that, let's say if we're going to speak towards like the black community, the changing of the dynamic because of, governmental, purposeful movement of drugs into our neighborhoods in order to basically destroy, those communities, all that type of stuff. When that happened on a regular basis, it put you in a situation where the men were either being locked up for trying to sell those drugs, they were being locked up for crime due to being on those drugs, like we talked about the other day about crack. Crack caused a lot of crime. So,
which I have thankfully participated.
Right,
in.
He's been the recipient of well, how are we gonna poise that? He's been the recipient.
I have supported black business
of hard working crackheads.
No, it's the lower labor workforce.
Yeah,
the lower labor workforce.
LWC or WM. Excuse me. That's what he had. So, but so a lot of times that they were not available. Those fathers, those husbands were not available. They were in jail or in the grave or strung out on drugs to the point where they had to be separated from those families. and that put the mothers, the matriarchs of the house, they put them in their position where they had to work too. So now it's no more just me sitting here waiting for, you know, daddy to bring home, you know, my husband to bring home the bacon, and then I cook it. It's, I got to do all of this stuff and raise these kids and everything. So I got to go to the job, and I got to work a 9 to 5, sometimes more than that, sometimes double shifts, just to be able to take care of these children that I got, that this man is no longer here to help me take care of. So that put women in that situation. But again, unfortunately, I don't know how it could have, but it needed to happen, because women are our equals when it comes to all this stuff in the workforce and stuff like that, if they choose to be. You know, there's nothing that would prohibit them from doing exactly what we do. So it's like they needed their shot at it. I just hate that it had to be that. Just like you say, when, all right, well, you hadn't seen family members in a long time, but when you finally do see them, it's at a funeral. It's like, we needed to see each other, but just not like this. So for them, they needed to get that bump in progression, but just not in that way, to the point where they were stripped of their husbands and their sons and their, you know, and all that stuff. So, but it happened. The cat is out of the bag, the baby's out of the womb, all that stuff. You can't put everything back where it came from. So that's how it is now. So a lot of the things have changed up. So when females who are now, you know, have acclimated themselves to the work environment, and they are big wigs in companies, they are you know, they are the brain trust of the company. They're just not somebody working in the mail room or somebody's receptionist. They are actually somebody vital, the CEO, they are all of those things. And then they're in a relationship, of course, because of the pathway that they took, it's kind of different for them. You know, a lot of those women don't feel as though, okay, well, I need to do that old school the old school wifey stuff. I ain't worried about rubbing your back when you come home, because my back hurting too, because I was at work too. You know, I ain't worried about doing XYZ for you, because, you know, I just had to fire 12 people on my job. So, you know, and it's like, and then you understand it, but then you also look at it like, well, for me as a man, I understand it until you started throwing in my face what I'm supposed to be doing as a man, and it's from that old school book. It's like, my book didn't evolve. Your book did. Yours changed. You know, you went from not being able to vote to not being able to work to now you the head of a company. All these different things that happened in the time frame. So it's just like, okay, you eliminated some of those old things that you were doing, those creature comforts that you were used to doing back in the day, that made our lives easier, my life easier. But, you know, any man worth his salt gonna learn how to do something in the kitchen, even if it's just survival food. Like my partner called them struggle meals. If you make a struggle meal, like, I'm gonna put these ramen noodles together, I'm gonna get this chicken breast, I'm gonna put it on doggone George Foreman grill, I'm gonna season that guy up a little bit, I'm gonna chop that mug up, lay it off into the noodles. So you got to add protein to it. You know, that was before, in the meat eating days. So it's like, yeah, you got to do all this struggle meal. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. So just like people talking about eating mayonnaise sandwiches or anything else, like, you had to learn how to cook something. So of course, as a single man, you got to learn how to take care of yourself. You got to learn how to fix your own meals. You can't eat out every single day unless, I mean, some people got money like that, they can, but not everybody does. So you end up learning how to make yourself certain meals. Don't hungry man yourself to death with too much sodium in it. Now, but once you learn, it actually adds to the pot that you and your lady friend, you know, you evolved from those old time friends, because the whole thought process was that she was supposed to be the cook. You weren't. So now you've learned how to cook, and she's stepped up and become a captain of industry. She's busting her butt at her job. So you've learned all these other things that were not in your bag. But the evolution wasn't so grand of a escape for men. It was for women. And glad you're here, welcome to the table. You know, but then that's why every man and woman has to figure out their own dynamic of how they're gonna make that work, because the roles have changed in a lot of different ways, and you can choose to operate on the old school and it'd be totally fine. You can find some new way to do a blend of old school, new school, and that'll be fine. Or you could do it new school ways, which I'm not sure how that works, because it's kind of like I'm sure how this works. Do what needs to be done, that process, the way of no way, the whole Bruce Lee thing. Mm-hmm. I know that works, because then you're not so much caught up on the roles. You just know that, okay, this thing needs to be done. Like, you know, now we ain't talking about, push this Cadillac from this side of the yard to that side of the yard type of stuff that you would expect a man to do. I'm just saying that, like, okay, if this garbage bag needs to be tied up and walked 4 feet over here and put into this can, that's something that either one of us can do unless that bag is too heavy. If you're dead set on it has to be the man that does that, I'm fine with that. I can live with that. But again, it's kind of us going back into it's a role, it's a title. You have to do it because you're the man. Okay, cool. There's a lot of stuff that if I were to think the same way.
Even so, I still think the men should be able to wear their little hair pieces. If that's the case.
Hey, all I'm saying is that let's not get so caught up on it. If women are allowed to evolve, and that's my whole point with this whole long analogy, is that if women are allowed to evolve, men should be able to too. Because if you keep us in the same situation where we're not just talking about in dealing with each other, the world is changing, the entire planet is changing, society is changing.
Pluto ain't here no more.
There you go. They done took away our Pluto. Both of them. The dog and the planet. They gone. One man Supercharged say he they done killed my partner. Why? We off? We back on? We off? What happened?
I think we went into sleep mode on the screen. I'm looking at hippos.
Oh.
What are they? I don't know.
No, give me the.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, see your boy work. See your boy work.
It said no signal just a second ago. I don't even know.
We ain't record. We done stop recording.
We just stopped recording.
We stopped
Son
recording.
of a bitch. Ah, that's jacked up. Bruh, there's nothing here.
So we didn't record anything?
Nothing.
I got it on YouTube, though.
Oh, wait a minute. Stop it.
Well, I'm going to keep on talking. So, anyway, that's a good thing. The evolution on both sides. And smart couples, not even just couples, smart people. Because you know eventually you're going to have to deal with the opposite sex in one way or another. Not necessarily relationship-wise, but it pays to evolve. It pays to understand that the other sex is evolving as well, and then you have to devise a new norm.
Hold on, let me see. That just pissed me off.
So once you devise a new norm, then everything works out fine for you.
That's why every man and woman has to figure out their own dynamic of how they're gonna make that work, because the roles have changed in a lot of different ways, and you can choose to operate on the old school and it'd be totally fine.
That's me.
You can find some new way to do a blend of old school, new school, and that'll be fine.
Oh, we went that far.
It cut off.
And blend the old school, new school, and that'll be fine.
Oh, that was just now.
And that's why every man and woman has to figure out their own dynamic of how they're gonna make that work, because the roles have changed in a lot of different ways, and you can choose to operate on the old school and it'd be totally fine. You can find some new way to do a blend of old school, new school, and that'll be fine.
Well, he's still trying to figure that whole thing out. So.
No, we back up.
Yeah. We back up and running.
We remind me to take the system off sleep.
Okay.
So it won't go to sleep.
Right.
Okay.
No sleep for you.
No sleep. All right. We back.
Yeah, we back. So anyway.
Still no sponsors.
Still no sponsors. Like, what happened?
Did you check your email?
Yeah, I checked my email.
Did you give Sammy
an Do I need to be drinking one while I'm doing this? Like, come on, man. Look out for your boy. No, this. Look, wait. Pass me that. We gonna do this. What is it?
Roasted.
Well, yeah, I don't know what the Sue Mama teriyaki jerk, roasted vegan jerky with the barbecue on the side. Eat it. It ain't flesh. Like how do vegans do their commercials? Is that the only selling point? It's like, but it ain't a cow. Tastes like cardboard, but it ain't a chicken. All right.
It really tastes like chicken. I mean cardboard.
No, it
didn't.
Okay, but you know, jerky is tough anyway.
Right.
It's meant to be that way. So of course, when you make a vegan jerky, the first thing that they're trying to do is let me get the consistency right.
Right.
So they're trying to find it. Like I need it to be chewy and tough so I can rip away at it. So no, it don't taste like cardboard. But I'm just saying, that's what the thought process for meat eaters is. And I say that like I'm not one. Like I've made my transition, and it's a slow transition. because I know there's a lot more to the health side of it that I need to study up on. So just me saying, all right, well, I'm not gonna eat burgers and I'm not gonna eat turkey and I'm not gonna eat this, that, and the other. That's just the first start because it's easier. And I've done it a number of times in my life that had absolutely nothing to do with veganism, anything like that. I just got to the point where I just wanted to eat less beef, and it helped me trim down when I wanted to. Like when I was playing both basketball and football, like it's like when I wanted to drop down to get to my basketball weight, I cut out the beef, for sure, and then light chicken, and it was easy to drop down. And then when I wanted the beef back up and get ready for the little football joint, I add some more beef to the situation. Of course, when you look at how to diet in this day and time, that wasn't even a proper way to go about it. But there's a million different ways to skin a cat. That was just my way back then. I bulked up though. I can tell you that much. It worked. It definitely worked. But yeah. Anyway, so the double standard. We covered the double standard. It's important to know that there doesn't have to be one. You don't have to be with some old structure or some old thought process is trying to box you into being. I think that's the problem. That's what separates us, is old thought processes. It's like in most states, they got old laws and rules that if you break them, you still go to jail if somebody was so inclined to be that anal and petty about it. Like, I don't know if they changed it now, but when I was the last time I was in North Carolina, they were telling me about the rules set there. I mean, Georgia has these rules too. All right. But Georgia has these rules too. But I remember they were saying in North Carolina that you couldn't have sex in any position other than the missionary position. It was illegal. I'm gonna pause for dramatic effect on that one. What in the flying kung fu fuck do you think people were doing? It'd have been a whole lot of locked up people. And because they never took those off the books, if somebody was so inclined to say, okay, well, of course you gotta be half peeping Tom, half FBI, CIA to be looking in people's windows to find out what they're doing. But of course we know that with devices like these, you can always see what somebody's doing if you were, again, so inclined. But that's funny because, those old thought processes from 100 years ago, what the rules said, by less informed, less educated, paranoid individuals. So they were dictating the doctrine of the country, of that particular state, that county, that township, to tell them what they could and couldn't do. So of course, you gotta realize that was being said as far as ethnic groups was concerned, genders, sexual preferences, everything else. The state of the country was much different 100 years ago. You look at the LGBT community at this particular point, imagine 100 years ago. Trying to start any movement at that time frame, 100 years ago. You would be killed. You would never be able to work. You would be so scrutinized. It was just a million different things that you would have to go through. And for those people that were in their truth back then, applause to them and apologies for everything that you had to go through, because it had to be rough, it had to be tough, it had to be almost impossible. So that's the funny thing, not funny, but that's the really peculiar thing about it. So you got too many people that are always trying to put you in that place. The world has evolved, everything has changed. Ladies, stop worrying about what these men are doing, because they by far have not caught up to you yet on what you're doing, on the makeup and the eyebrows and the eyelashes and the lip stuff and the body altering and the Brazilian butt lift and I'm just gonna get the fat transfer and all this other stuff. Because if a man went through all that stuff, y'all would look at him like he was crazy, and you would literally just be like, bro, just go to the gym, just go work out, Go lift some weights. Go run. Go play some basketball. Which, I mean, that's still my answer for the ladies. You don't got to do all that. Like, go to the gym. Because a lot of these chicks that go out and do that, they still don't work out. And their body still ends up looking funny because they don't do the proper maintenance after they get the Brazilian butt lift. After they do the fat transfer. Because remember, it's just fat. So fat is not going to, obey your command because you moved it to one particular part of your body. You're still going to develop cellulite. You're still going to get all the other things. You have to follow some type of maintenance program for your life. Like one thing that I respect that I used to see with women that I knew years ago was that every last one of them had a special hygiene routine, a facial routine, meaning that they washed their face with a certain product. They went through all of the steps of how they were going to do that. They would give themselves facials, all that type of stuff. And that's dope. It's like, okay, to me, when a female says, I do this to feel good about me, I do this to make myself feel pretty, I do this to accentuate my beauty, I'm behind that 100%. But then when they do the whole, again, monster mash makeover, it just throws me off. Like, that's not maintaining what you have. That's literally trying to change what you are into something else. And I don't know, I would be looked at as insecure if I was always walking around. I was sticking pillows in my shirt to make it look like I had more chest, or again grab the sock and put it in my pants to make it look like I had more meat. That's the thing. Like, chicks would look at me like I was completely crazy. Like, what are you doing, you insecure, weak ass man, But for me, if I chose to give the same answer, it'd be like, oh, well, it just made me feel better about me. Y'all would still look at me like I was crazy. That wouldn't be an acceptable answer. And I feel like it's not. That's why it's not an acceptable answer for me. It's like, there's ways to make yourself feel good. And self-love is important for men and women. And as long as you're not letting the world tell you who you need to be or who you look like, everything else works out the way it's supposed to. So, that dynamic is not forced on you. You go about your own way. But when you spend all your time looking at what other people look at on social media is horrible about that. That's the new Cosmopolitan, Vanity Fair. That's the new magazine of what's to tell you what you're supposed to look like, because you're looking at all these Instagram models who have had all these fat transfers and done all this other stuff. And bodies are looking crazy because it doesn't look natural. It just looks absurd in the sense that it is like, now your waist is literally this big, but then your hip to waist ratio is 40 times that. And again, like my brother said, your thighs don't match your butt, and your butt don't match nothing else. Butt look like it's detachable because it doesn't match anything else on your body.
Look like you wearing a pamper.
That too, yeah, that too. The funny part about it is, I know some natural girls, that had such big butts that they were teased when they were kids, and they were told that they looked like they had a pamper. But of course, grew up to be like the finest things on the planet when they got grown. Kids is cruel anyway. So yeah, you teasing this daggone 10-year-old because she's, like, meaning like these 10-year-olds are teasing a 10-year-old girl because of the fact that she is, got super developed in one particular area or another. And then of course, you fast forward 20 years and she the finest auntie you've never seen for in your life. You know what I'm saying? You're like, Jesus, Miss Parker. So, it's weird. But I'm gonna shut this thing down. This thing going on 50 minutes. I'm gonna see how that thing look. And then, cause I like it. I like the you talking about other stuff. I'm like talking about backdrops. I like this. I have art behind me and mirrors. Look like I'm sophisticated. I look like I might work in a law office or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Spiegel, and Jeffries. I'm Jeffries. It's like
Alan Wishes, Jenkins, and sassafras.
It's sassafras. You know what I'm saying? Extra creatine. But yeah, but we out. All right.